I'll miss our time together more than I can say. But you know what? There will be a new day and eventually a new year. And when the upcoming winter gives way to spring, rest assured, once again, it will be time for Dodger baseball. So this is Vin Scully wishing you a very pleasant good afternoon wherever you may be.
Hey, welcome to another Coastal Bros. Let me bring in the bros. Wow, back-to-back tribute videos.
Not a dry eye in the house.
Hey, sorry, my wife must be cooking onions. So
Chopping them onions.
chopping onions to it. Because let me tell you, Vin Scully, we're gonna remember him today. You know, passed away Tuesday at the age of 94. 67 years as a broadcaster for the Brooklyn/LA Dodgers. And, there was a lot of stuff. I looked into a lot of things that he was doing. And I could imagine, I didn't notice he did a lot of stuff. A lot of calls some famous calls, not just baseball calls, that I was looking through. And I was like, wow, I couldn't believe he did that. So let's start with this. Give me your favorite Vin Scully moment that you remember.
What I like is that.
Wow, so many, man. I mean, such a long career. You mentioned it. It spans back to Brooklyn. I mean, he spent his whole lifetime, calling the Dodgers. But aside from that, like you said, he called other sporting events. But obviously, my favorite moments are going to be Dodger related. Mainly the '88 World Series home run by Kirk Gibson. And I always love watching that highlight because what was great about Vin Scully is he never really talked over like the great moments. He kind of just sat back and let you enjoy the moment. If you watch and you listen to him, he kind of just sits back, as if he, your grandpa watching the game with you, and you're knocking back a few beers. He just does. He doesn't make it about himself. That's what made him so great. It's all about the moment, and he realized that there's just certain moments in baseball that you let it breathe. I was surprised to learn that he called the famous Hank Aaron home run, which broke Babe Ruth's record. And if you listen, I mean, you have to listen closely to realize it's him because he just lets it breathe, man. It's all about the moment. He lets you just hear the roar of the crowd. It's a beautiful thing, man. I mean, guys now, it's all about themselves, and he was just, so humble, despite, being such a living legend. He was so humble about, his craft. It was all about the craft, and, but yeah, my favorite moments, like I said, probably number one would have to be the '88 World Series, a home run by Kirk Gibson. And if you watch, I always love watching that highlight because if you watch closely, you can see people in the parking lot. You can see the brake lights. You can see people as they're leaving, realizing they just missed one of the greatest moments in baseball history, and they pump their brakes, man. When I'm sure they were listening to it on the radio and hearing Vin Scully call that home run, man, it just never gets old. I can watch that over and over. I mean, it's something out of a Hollywood film. I don't think you can even write a better script than that. But aside from that, probably 1A, 1B would have to be for me personally was when Fernando Valenzuela threw his no-hitter. And the call by Vin Scully was at the end of the game. He said, if you have a sombrero, throw it in the sky. I mean, that's one of the greatest calls. I mean, it's just man, it's just so awesome to watch highlights of him calling games, not just baseball, because I mean he did so many things, man. I mean, just a great long life. I mean, I could listen to Vin Scully all day, man, all day.
Yeah, me too. 2 Wallets, you got a favorite memory?
You know what? I don't have a favorite memory, but understanding his importance, and I always put Vin Scully and Chick Hearn in the same bar, in the same category. They were more than just announcers. They were great people. They were awesome to the communities. And that was one thing I found out about Vin Scully. I'm not sure if a lot of people know. He fundraisers for the community, worked with kids. Like, he wanted other people to get into broadcasting as well. So, I mean, he was all over the map. And that's just the way I felt about Vin Scully.
Yeah, so besides, yes, I could probably memorize that 88 Gibson call with the year that's been so improbable, the impossible has happened all year long. They look to him to light the fire, right? Now, I watched that 88 World Series tape when I was a kid so much that the film on that tape, that VHS tape, is so thin, and that my own mother and brother got tired of me of watching that particular 88 World Series tape, that they would hide it from me. Okay.
She is gone.
Yeah. I also I looked up some stuff on Wikipedia and just in his broadcasting career, and I was surprisingly, he called the Dwight Clark NFL catch.
Yeah.
Right in the Super Bowl. That was his final NFL game he ever called. What a game to be a part of. He had so many memorable games. The Bill Buckner play in '86 in the World Series. There it is. You can hear the infamous call. We mentioned the Gibson homer. He was also doing World Series games for NBC. Friday and Saturday night, he would work for NBC. The Dodgers let him go to work for NBC. He called the Masters from 75 to 82. When NBC had the baseball, he called the baseball. Like I said, he had the Buckner in '86, the World Series. The '88 Gibson home run was a NBC televised game, and it just happened that he was broadcasting the game. I saw that he also, in '97, was his final World Series Game 7 call with the World Series between the Marlins and the Indians. And he also did the Skins game. He called PGA games. He did some golf. He did broadcast Skins games for ABC. And he was inducted into the Ford Frick Award Hall of Fame, in I believe it was 89. So he had a tremendous career throughout everything. I remember, I used to fall asleep to his games. My grandfather used to fall asleep to his games. I used to stay the night at my grandfather's house, and we going to bed because he had to be at work very early in the morning. So the game was on, and I hear it in his radio, listening to the game. I remember falling asleep when I was younger, having that game on, and having him. And the best part about his calling a baseball game or calling anything, he made you feel like you were right there.
Yep.
Right? He made it feel. You talk about let it breathe. During the Barry Bonds home run year, he played Eric Gagne. And I remember he said, "All right, I'll shut up." During that at bat, he didn't talk the whole time. It was Eric Gagne, 99-mile-an-hour fastball versus Barry Bonds, obviously one of the most greatest World Series home run hitters ever. And as I say this, Cody Bellinger just hits a home run to give the Dodgers 1-0 lead.
Belly bomb.
So he just let it breathe, and he was such a great guy.
Hey Daniel, did you get a
yeah,
chance to watch any of the ceremony they did for him the other night?
I did. I had to DVR it because I was had to get up really early the next day, but I watched it, and yeah, I was cutting onions again. You know,
Yeah.
it was so memorable. You know, I remember the Charlie Coburn home run, right? That won it on his last game, and it's oddly enough that you talk about fate, that the Dodgers played the Giants in San Francisco
Of all teams.
where he grew up a Giants fan.
Yep.
Grew up a Giants fan.
Brooklyn Giant.
The New York Giants. And he grew up a New York Giants
Yeah.
fan, but related, you know, and then he called his final game in that ballpark.
How fitting.
Right?
Yeah.
And Joe Davis, the one that took the next seat in line, and I know it's different now these days, was able to fortunately be the bearer of bad news, but it wasn't somebody else. It was the guy that preceded him.
The baseball gods, man, they have a way of everything falls into place.
Falling apart. Falling into place. It was lovely to see. We will miss you, Vin.
Yeah. That soothing voice.
I gotta say that LA has been gifted with 3 great announcers. Vin Scully for baseball, Chick Hearn for basketball, and Bob Miller for the LA Kings. Hockey.
Yeah, we've been spoiled.
We've been spoiled. LA has been spoiled with 3 great announcers. You can
3 classy guys too.
Classy guy. You might throw Al Michaels in there since he's from Southern California. You could throw him there for football. You know, that'd be great too. But just in the home, when you think of Lakers, it's Chick Hearn. I can even if I can say it, let me see if I can find him.
But yeah, those 3 guys, like you mentioned, no matter what was going on in your life, when you turn on the television and you heard, Chick or you heard Vinny, it made everything, it feel all right, man. When you heard those guys,
I could even name Ralph Lawler. Was another one, Clipper all-time Clipper announcer.
He's got a law named after him.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Lawler's Law.
First one to 100 wins, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, we'll miss Vin. Great years. Really glad that, our generation was able to, and generations before, it's like, if you ever want to learn how to be a broadcaster, look at all of his tapes. Look at some of his tapes. Go on YouTube and look at some of the way he called some plays. And the best part about Ben is he didn't like this. I'm sure enough he doesn't like what's going on this last week with everybody remembering Vin because he was such a no ego. Doesn't want to be in the spotlight. I remember they tried to get a bobblehead for him for a while, and it took a long time for him to get a bobblehead. Because everybody wanted one, and he's like, "No, that's for the players. That's not for us." And finally, he agreed. Humble. He's so humble.
Such a humble man.
He gets to be reunited with his wife now.
God bless him,
Nancy, and God bless him. And thoughts and prayers go out to the whole entire Scully family.
He will be missed.
Yes, he will. All right, so let's get into some football. All right. Let's talk tampering, okay? Let's talk Miami Dolphins tampering. Now, it's pretty crazy because we all knew this is all because of Brian Flores. I mean, you got to believe, right?
Yeah, it's a domino effect, obviously. But yeah, I'm more disturbed about that situation than I am about the tampering. I mean, what disturbed me was the possibility of throwing games I mean, when you're doing that, you're taking the credibility away from the NFL. So yeah, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. I
Okay.
hear a lot of noise in the background of Joey's. I don't know. Is he watching
Oh,
something?
you're listening to Suburban
X, turn down the
Inspired
TV. It's coming in too.
So go ahead, Romero.
Yeah. What's more disturbing to me is, like I said, when those details came out that Ross, right, the owner,
Yeah.
was possibly asking Coach Flores to throw games. That to me is the disturbing part. The tampering side of things, that's not uncommon, around the league. There's all kinds of tampering going on when you're talking about recruitment of players and what have you. That's not out of the norm. But when you're deliberately throwing games, then that throws into question, like I said, the credibility of the league. And I'm sure Roger Goodell was not too happy, about those details coming out, because that makes the league look bad.
Right. I mean, the policy says an employee under contract, including head coach, general manager, or any higher level position who voluntarily resigns or retires prior to the expiration of his contract, is prohibited from discussion or accepting employment with any other NFL team without consent of his prior club. So the Dolphins asked the Saints, and the Saints said no, because we think we can bring him back. Right? But
So this was Sean Payton and Brady, right?
They did it anyways. Brian Flores has said that they tried to use the relationship between Tom Brady and Brian Flores to say, hey, can you help your relationship recruit Tom Brady to come to the Dolphins? I'll pay you extra amount of money. That's what it was saying. So the Dolphins were forfeited their 2023 first round pick, their third pick in 2024, fined $1.5 million to the owner, and somehow, some way, they suspended the owner for 6 games. I don't know what the owner does with the 6 games, because it's not like he has to forfeit.
Suit up.
Yeah, I mean,
he can't come to the owner's box. He can't go to the game.
But he doesn't play.
Big
and
deal.
He's still gonna make money when the fans go. What is he gonna say? In those 6 games, that you're gonna lose all the money, any money that you got paid.
Yeah, no, they got to make him sell that team, man. I'm sorry, because the integrity. I mean, they have to force him out. They have to force him out. I mean, that's not enough.
Okay, so as much as I would love to see that, only because I've had off feelings about Stephen Ross ever since he's bought the team. I mean, you want to talk about tampering and within the organization. I mean, Washington's owner has done the same thing. He just hasn't gotten caught yet. But I don't want to get into that because I'm talking about the Dolphins. I'm just saying that my whole point of bringing it up is they do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why they slapped him on the wrist for this is because of what happened with Cleveland. So everything that happened with Cleveland is, well, if you guys don't punish your owners, how do you expect to punish your players? He only got 6 games for very odd, aggressive sexual habits. Okay. None of us agree with it, but none of us is living that dude's life. But now you bring up okay, what about the owners who have had the odd sexual encounters? The Patriots owner. I mean, I don't want to go into full detail, but this stuff happens all the time. Now, where it gets worse is he's taking the integrity of the sport itself, not extracurricular activities. So, what was the wide receiver for Atlanta? The guy like Ridley, right? $1,200. Right. $1,200. He lost a year, maybe more. This guy was going to give up part ownership and money to Tom Brady. Now, if it was any other player, the owner and Tom Brady would have gotten hit because it's two sides of tampering. We see it all the time with players. And why the $1.5 million for a guy who has $9 billion? That's not even a slap on the wrist. That's change falling out of his pocket.
According to the $1.5 million is what he would, because that's equivalent to 6 games. The 6 games he's going to lose. Like I said, unless they're playing in an empty stadium and giving those 6 games, those say just games back to their fans, the money, and say, oh well, he's still gonna make money those games just so he's not there. Big deal. He doesn't call the plays. He doesn't suit up for the plays. He doesn't do anything. He's an owner. So I don't know about the 6 games. I rather you bump that up to where he gets this fined $5 million, $10 million.
I think he should force his hand and sell the team.
4 draft picks.
Because there's so many issues with Stephen Ross.
Right. Now, here's the whole point. This is all a shell game. This is all hiding plain sight. He actually admitted to the league that he said what he said to the coach. Yeah, man, I'll give you so-and-so to throw the money. He admitted it, but he tried to tweak it. He went from, I never said that. Daniel, what's the coach's name? Because it slips my mind right now.
Brian Flores.
He said that to Brian. He said he never said that to Brian Flores. He's now telling Roger Goodell, I was joking. So wait, did you not say it, or were you doing it jokingly? Let's go in the middle and say you said it. You're trying to lie to get out of being fined. Players can lose $1,200 to $1,500 and lose a year. This guy is losing change out of his pocket, and they do nothing to him.
There's a lack of consistency.
Oh, you want to know where it gets even funnier? That first round pick that the Miami Dolphins lost. You know they have more than one first round pick for this season, right?
Yes, they have the 49ers pick.
So they didn't lose anything.
It's so arbitrary. When the league hands down these suspensions, it's so arbitrary. It's almost like they just throw out any number, when it comes to suspensions. 6 games for this and for that. There's no barometer. It's just a mess, man. It's just a mess.
Couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. In 2022 season, the vice chairman Bruce Beal can't attend any league meetings for the remainder of the season and is fined $500,000.
The vice president, right?
The vice chairman and limited partner, right? So he can't attend any league meetings. So if they have a league meeting for whatever reason, he can't.
He can't go. His
vote is null and void, right? So out of the 30, if they have 32 teams and they're tied and they need that one guy to make a vote, guess what? Sorry, Well,
at least with kicking him out, they'll have a deciding vote because now it'd be uneven.
Yeah. So but if they're looking for that tie, they can't do it. So
yeah.
But I like I said before, I think it should have been more of a harsher penalty, right? Because, and I'm going to break into the NBA tampering rule because there's an NBA team that's tampering right now.
I think that one's being blown out of proportion. I think the Knicks situation. Yeah.
Yes. So
you know what? Can we just jump there real quick because it's not going to take very long.
Well, let me just. So over under this, how many games do you think, or how much money, or I take that back. They lost 2 draft picks. In your heart of hearts, how many draft picks should they have lost?
More than that, for sure. But I personally think that it should be more severe. I honestly believe that the league has to force him to sell the team at this point.
So you say have him sell the team.
Absolutely, because there's so many issues involved with Ross. I mean, it's not just tampering. It's also issues with hiring minorities,
and it's tanking. We make a big stuck about the NBA tanking.
Yes,
to get extra ping pong balls in the ball.
But ultimately, the biggest problem is, like I said, when you're risking the integrity of the league, that's unforgivable. I mean, and if I'm Roger Goodell, I say, look, I'm going to have to force your hand, and you're going to have to sell the team. It's going to be one of those situations like the old Clippers owner, Sterling, right. Because there's also a racial element to what's going on there, and you just can't have an owner that feels the way he feels owning the team. I'm sorry. I mean, openly, you just can't. You can't. You have to find another owner, or maybe a group of owners, that are willing to buy the team, and then move forward, because the way the situation is right now, this is not going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah,
it's going to linger.
Well, you know what? If you're going to find one owner to buy the Dolphins, you might as well start adding them up and get another one to buy the owner of the Washington Commanders, Comrades, whatever you want, because he's just as bad, if not worse, just in a whole nother way. And Daniel, how long have I been bringing that up?
Yeah, well, so
off and on for over a year now.
So who gets forced first, Dan Snyder or Stephen Ross?
Well, can I answer your previous question then?
Yeah.
The stiffer penalty. What would I do?
Yeah.
Let's go with the analytics. First round picks make it 46% of the time. The rest are what? Bums. They don't belong in the league. Everybody overdrafts. For 3 years, I'm taking the second and third round picks, which have a higher rate of success rate for drafting for teams than first round picks. So let them keep the first round picks. I'm taking the second and third for 3 years.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that too, because as we all seen, the later rounds, you get you find the diamond in the rough type of players. So yeah, that could hurt your team there. But all right, I'll let I'll let you answer that question first. Again, who gets if they had to force their hand, and Roger Goodell has to set an example, who's he going after first, Stephen Ross or Dan Snyder, to kick him out of the league?
Ooh. I'm going to sneak this in there, but we're not going to mention Robert Kraft for sleeping with underage women. But we will say that there is a problem with having a racist owner in Washington. I can't choose. Do you have a guy I haven't put those two together, but everything is pointing at it for Robert. When he said to a group of Indian chiefs, that's your problem, it's not mine, I'm not changing a thing, and then the league made him do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know who's worse.
Pick one though.
Rod Snyder, just because I know more of his dealings that haven't come out yet.
Dan Snyder, okay.
I'm sorry, Dan Snyder.
Okay, and Romero, Big Poppy.
Man, both of those guys. I mean, ideally, the NFL would want to get rid of owners like those two. But it's a Pandora's box, man. I mean, it's going to be one of these situations where, well, if we really start digging into these owners' personal lives and looking through emails and what have you, I mean, that whole John Gruden situation that went down, that's an indication of, man, these old emails or what have you can come back to haunt you. But I think right now the most pressing issue, I think, is Ross, because there's just so much happening there in Miami. It's a mess, man. Yeah. And with Snyder, I mean, we already knew. We know, about Dan Snyder. This is nothing new. But yeah, I think the most pressing issue right now is the Ross situation, because it's going to linger throughout the season. It's going to be a distraction for sure.
I think the only reason why Dan Snyder's not out the league is because he hasn't gotten caught on tape doing anything.
Yeah, but at the very least, even though it was forced, Snyder, had to change the name at the very least of the team. But that was forced. We know it wasn't out of his own conviction.
Right. And then as soon as I start liking Washington football team, he changes it again. I'm like,
it's a step in the right direction. But at the end of the day, money talks, and they might just try to dig all of these issues under the rug, and it's going to be business as usual. That's the NFL.
Yep, that's why I commend a commissioner like Adam Silver who nipped that and said, boom, you're gone. Yeah. Because, and that what makes Adam Silver probably one of the best commissioners of all sports, of all major sports.
Yeah. And if you go further back in the NFL, I never recall any of these issues going on when Paul Tagliabue was the commissioner. I don't remember, some of the issues that the NFL is dealing with now. I mean, to me, Roger Goodell, I'm sorry, he lacks leadership, man. Like I said,
hold on. Now
everything's so arbitrary.
I will fight for Roger Goodell, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because he has to fight back against owners when it comes to these situations. Adam Silver and the NBA owners are more progressive. That's why he gets a lot of the yes to do what you got to do.
The problem is that Roger Goodell is chummy with a lot of these NFL owners.
He has to be. That's his job.
And see, this is the problem: is you got to be consistent, man. Just because a guy is your buddy, you can't just say, oh, you know what, he's my buddy, so I'm going to give him a lesser suspension.
Okay. No. I get what you're saying, but let's bring up just one small point, just to hit on Deshaun Watson real quick. Okay. Apparently, the owners did not like that Deshaun Watson got traded to Cleveland. So this whole situation, Big Chief, you had been hearing it just like I had. He's going to get suspended a year. He's going to get suspended a year. He's going to get suspended a year. That's because that's what all the owners kept saying. They want him suspended for a year. But they're not doing it to punish him. They're doing it to punish the Haslams, because a lot of the owners don't like the Haslams. They're considered new money, so they don't like the Haslams.
So it's the good old boy network.
Right. It's a good old boy network. Right. Now, here's the funny part. Deshaun Watson said, I'll sue if you give me a year. And I told Big Chief, I smelled something funny. There was 30 total women. 8 of them, there was no credibility. But if the Houston Texans didn't set up anything that had to do with the women and him, why did the Houston Texans settle with 30 different women? And Deshaun Watson only had to settle with, what is it now, Daniel? 20?
24.
Yeah.
He had to settle with 24?
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now.
It's arbitrary, Joey. It's so arbitrary because when they're dealing with let's say domestic violence, for example, right? Which the NFL has had, their fair share of issues with some of the players and domestic violence. And, sometimes these guys will get 4 games and then they're back in pads and ready to go. So see, the league has a problem because it's arbitrary. There is nothing on paper that says if there's a domestic violence issue, you get this many games. Everything is so based on public opinion, and it sways based on public opinion.
I completely agree with you. Right, but notice one thing that happens every time somebody gets kicked out of the league. If there's tape or proof, visually or hearing it, guess what? You're out. Donald Sterling, gone.
Ray
Rice, gone. Chris Henry, gone. If you get caught on tape
Well, yeah,
for
at that
anything,
point, at that
you're
point, you
gone.
have to do something about it.
Oh, Henry.
Why not do something when there isn't a video involved? That's the problem. It's all about
because if nobody sees it, nobody cares to ask. How many people are actually going to go online and read the story? Fans are not going to do that. You know what they're going to do? Let me turn on TMZ. Let me turn on the news. Let me turn on ESPN. That's where they get their ratings from. That's what the NFL goes by. For an example, how many people I skimmed through what happened with Washington. You want to know why Daniel Snyder's not out? He hasn't been caught on tape yet. We're waiting for that one girl to break the confidentiality agreement because we know how he's gone. Hey, now, when it comes to Jerry Jones, hey, at least he only gets caught with strippers that are of legal age, okay? And it's only happened twice. One was on camera. Hold on. No. I'm not, but hold on. Jerry Jones was caught with one stripper on camera, but guess what? She was of legal age. It was in a club where she was doing her job and he was enjoying himself. And everybody will sit there and say Jerry Jones works harder than most of the other owners. So that's what they don't care.
And look,
they say the same thing about Clinton. No, the job is so hard they should have been throwing them women.
As a Cowboys fan, I'm not going to cover up for Jerry Jones. He's yeah. But anyhow, we don't want to go off the rails. But
agreed. Can we hit the Knicks now? Can we go on to the Knicks? Because this is a funny one right here.
Yeah, maybe you guys are done.
We're. This is one of those ones that it all connects.
All right.
So
the Knicks are being investigated by the NBA because as of June 30th at 6 p.m., open free agency, and supposedly Brunson agreed to a 4-year deal that night, and they're saying there's no way, no how that he agrees to a deal within 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock that same night. The NBA has instituted an anti-tampering penalties in 2019, a max fine of $10 million for the team, suspending team executives, forfeiting draft picks, and highly unlikely, because I've never seen it done yet, voiding the contract. Okay. Last year, there was 2 teams that got heavily fined and draft picks taken away. Chicago Bulls and then your Miami Heat for supposedly Lonzo Ball and Kyle Lowry getting early contracts. Mm-hmm. The Bucks also lost a second-round pick in 2022 because they were talking to, at the time, unrestricted free agent, Bogdan Bojanovic.
Yep.
In the 2020 season. So that took 2 years. So, and they're all. We just talked last week about the Knicks being investigated for tampering.
Yeah, I think the issue with the Knicks is more about nepotism because, from my understanding is they hired Jalen Brunson's father on the staff. So prior to him coming to the Knicks, so obviously that's a red flag right there. I mean, you're hiring a player's father, which I'm pretty sure that they were already privy to the fact that he was, most likely going to come to the Knicks. I mean, if his father is getting employment with the Knicks, chances are that there was a package deal there. It's almost like when they recruit players, to play in college, and they say, well, if you want to recruit me, you got to recruit my buddy who plays with me, and I'll come to your school. I think it's more about nepotism. I personally don't have a problem with it because this happens in the NBA probably more than in any other league because we've seen it. I mean, we've seen, the Dwayne Wades and LeBrons and those guys join forces and in Miami or elsewhere. I mean, this is commonplace with the NBA, and there's nothing that the league can do because these guys communicate with each other. They talk about where they want to play. together? Where should we go, and play together? And the league really can't do much about this. I think the league's making much ado about nothing, honestly. I think it's being blown out of proportion. I mean, there is no law that says you can hire a player's dad and put him on staff. There's nothing against the law, that prevents the Knicks from doing that. So I think the NBA here, they're gonna have a difficult time, trying to make the Knicks take a step back here, because I mean, at the end of the day, everybody around the league does this. This is nothing new. So yeah.
The reason why I find this funny, and I agree with Romero wholeheartedly, and I just want to add to it. The NBA and the NFL are two completely different leagues. So to add on what Romero said, so the Mavericks hire his daddy. Now he can't talk to his daddy about possibly going and working with his father. So Magic Johnson, on the very minute free agency opened, he's on LeBron James' doorstep. But driving there to go talk to him, there was a question there too now. Driving to LeBron James' house to be on his doorstep before midnight, the league had a problem with. There's no winning here for either side. This is a joke. Now, it's freaking Jalen Brunson. The dude's going to average 16 points a game and 6 assists a game for the New York Knicks, and they're going to have another losing season. Sorry, big boy. I don't believe in Jalen Brunson like that. They didn't even add anybody else with him. They want to go after Kevin Durant. He'll get hurt in 2 years.
Joey, so if it was a superstar, you would be okay. You would be.
No, if it was a superstar, there'd be more of one of them joining him. But since it's Jalen Brunson,
yeah,
who cares? It's Jalen Brunson.
But ultimately, it's a player player empowerment, man. The NBA more than any other league, the players pretty much control the direction the league is going.
Dude, it's Jalen Brunson.
Yeah. I know, but it's nothing to do with just because it's Jalen Brunson, right? It has to do because I agree with Romero. It's because you let it back in the day.
Yeah.
When that team went down to Miami, you said, "Oh, it's okay." We like
all three of the players played together. USA, they're not allowed to talk.
The fear is going to open a Pandora's box.
But the dream team,
Pandora's box has already been opened.
But see, the dream team is the dream team is one thing. Getting with your friends and playing with your friends and trying to come together to make the money is another thing. Okay, that's a totally different thing. You could be on the dream team by all means. Bring that gold every 4 years home and don't get beat. Don't you get your butts kicked by the Europeans, because the Europeans been kicking your butts for so many damn years.
It's so funny you bring that up. The dream team had respect for each other, and the people that nobody liked wasn't invited, i.e. Isaiah Thomas.
But I'm just saying. But I'm saying, like the previous dream teams.
I got you.
Not the first one, but I like. That's why I like the old school people, because I want to beat you. Kobe didn't say I'm gonna go join up with somebody to beat somebody. He kicked Shaq out of the league. To send him down to Miami and said, "It's my team."
Okay. So I'm okay. No, I get what you're saying. So I'm just gonna throw you a little bit. I'm not in the fire, but I'm gonna throw you a little bit of hot grease. So you're okay with Kawhi and Paul George saying, "Let's get together"? Kawhi said, I think he originally said, "I want Butler," but then they went from Butler to Paul George.
I get that, because that's just NBA. That's today's NBA. This NBA is a buddy league. Okay. Yeah. Am I okay with it? I have no choice to be okay with it.
Not everybody.
You know what? Everybody's guilty of that, man. I'll give you an example.
Hold on. Not everybody.
A couple years ago, the Lakers signed, before the Greek Freak signed his extension in Milwaukee, the Lakers brought on board his little brother Costas with the hopes that might convince the Greek Freak to come to the Lakers.
Okay, but what did Greek the Freak do? Man,
Well,
bro, go get your money. I'm staying right here.
Okay. We all know that
that's one player.
He signed, but
that's one player. Okay. Let's talk about the Portland Trailblazers.
Hold on. Let Romero finish.
Go ahead.
So the point I was trying to make is that a lot of these moves are made, behind the scenes that we don't necessarily know about. The intention the Lakers had obviously was, hey, we'll sign his little brother Costas, and maybe that will sway him to come to the Lakers, right? This is before he signed that extension. Obviously, when he signed that extension, hey, is Costas still on the Lakers roster?
No.
Because the only reason we signed him was with the hopes that, his brother Giannis would come to the Lakers. It didn't happen, but this kind of stuff, like I said, happens around the league all the time.
It's happening right now with the Lakers as we speak. They're keeping LeBron there on hoping that they could draft Bronny to play with his daddy.
That's a possibility, yeah.
Actually, as kind of I actually kind of like that idea about LeBron.
But I'm just saying,
nobody's ever done that.
No, King Griffey Jr. and Griffey Sr. played with each other.
Oh, I'm talking about the NBA.
Okay, but in general, that's what this league is. That's why this league is so
Players
hard to watch. You love basketball. I get it. But you know when I watch basketball? In June. Because
I get it. I wait to watch baseball in October, so I get it.
But it is getting to the point where it's too much, man. The players have too much power.
I completely agree.
Come on, man. Like, aren't you getting tired of this like high school mentality? Like, hey, you and I can get together next year and we'll win the championships. Like,
right. Which is why I completely Which is why I completely respect Giannis. Which is why I completely respect Dame Dollar. Now look, Dame Dollar's good. He's great, but he's not Steph. He's never going to win a title in Portland. Giannis got his ring, and I honestly think he'll get another one in the next few years. I think they'll shock the world some way, somehow. I think they just need a perfect storm. I think he will get one more, but I wouldn't be surprised if Giannis came up here with a couple of defensive player of the years and like that. That's Giannis, though. And then another one, the Joker is never going to leave Denver.
He won't leave Denver, but will he get somebody to come play with him?
No, he's got Jamal Murray. And look, he's not going to say, hey, I want somebody to come to Denver to play with me. That's not the way he rolls. Now, look, did you see the way that guy played in the playoffs when he got eliminated?
Yeah.
I've never seen a guy play so hard knowing he was going to lose. There's a story that just came out about Kevin Durant's teammate. Dog, man, we going to lose this series. And he said it in game 2 to another teammate. What happened? Kevin Durant looked lethargic for the rest of the series against Boston. We saw him put his whole heart on the line against Milwaukee the year before.
Joey, it's going to be really tough to get a top free agent to go to Denver. See, that's another factor, that comes into this is where is your team located? Is it in a desirable place? Miami, LA, New York? That factors into it as well. A lot of these guys, they don't want to live.
He's not built like that.
They don't want to live in cold Colorado.
The Joker is different.
It's
Giannis is different. Dame is different.
Those guys, but I'm saying bringing free agents to help them is going to be very difficult. Bringing guys to Milwaukee or bringing guys to Denver to play with the Joker.
No, I think we're all in agreement. I think we're all in agreement when we say that that's the organization's job. I agree with Daniel. It's a buddy league. As soon as these dudes see each other at the AAU tournaments or they get together at Altar, hey, man, you and me been losing for a couple of years. Let's get together. Now, honestly, You know the only guy. Oh, and Bradley Beal is another one. He said, "You know what? I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay here, get my money, and I'll let them do the do. I'm going to just play ball." I would love to see a third person, because y'all forgetting they just got Porzingis, the unicorn. They got the unicorn and Bradley Beal. If they add one more guy who can shoot off the ball and run the court, that's going to be a dangerous Washington. Look, I know you don't believe, but I think Bradley Beal, if he can stay healthy.
The Wizards we're talking about, Joey. Come on, man.
I know this is the Wizards we're talking about. You act like they don't have a history. What's Unseld? Do I really need to keep going? I mean, they got a nice little history there.
Back in the day.
Yeah, the Washington Bullets.
They'll be a non-factor like they always are. Non-factor.
Look, until they get a third person, they're not going to be. But it's harder for organizations to get a guy. And Washington is not a bad market. It's a medium-sized market, you know?
Yeah. All right, let me answer a couple of these comments we got here about the NBA. Then we're going to get to NFL training camp news. This is to Brunson. You think he got the contract because his dad and the amount of money?
Of course, it's all tied. It's all tied in. That's part of the package deal.
Yeah, too.
I'm on the fence about that. I don't know if his dad. It's easy to say his dad got paid because Brunson was going there. Yeah, I mean, right, 2 and 2. Yes, his father got paid because his son was about to get paid. But then to say that is to prove tampering.
And then
I'm 99.9% sure that was.
So is the league. That's why he's under investigation.
The other one is, why do the players get paid a lot more than the coaches? Because the players play the games. I mean,
some players get paid. There's coaches that make a lot of money out there.
Now, let me just say this: is it fair that Luol Deng got paid all that money when the Lakers still don't have a coach?
Joey, he's.
I'm not trying to make a point. I wasn't trying to make.
Man.
He's off the books.
You gotta give him PTSD, man. You're gonna give him.
I'm sorry. I understand it was personal. My bad. I'm just saying, Luol Deng just came off the books. He got paid more than the last coach.
When I hear that name, man, it's like I'm back in Nam or something.
Yeah.
They give me PTSD, bro.
All right, let's go. NFL training camp news. All right.
Joey loves it.
Yep. Kareem Hunt wants to be traded.
How beautiful is that?
Where do you think he should go?
It doesn't even matter. You know what he's finally saying? I'm tired of everybody saying he's a great running back when he's hurt all the time, and I have to pick up for him, and nobody talks about me since Kansas City. You know what? I hope he goes somewhere like some weird reason he would get traded to Philly, and he would never like that. That would be the funny scenario. But you know what the best scenario would be? Check this, right? You ready? He goes to Dallas for Zeke Elliott.
Nah.
And then he's way better than Ezekiel Elliott.
No, we're
way better.
We'll have to respectfully pass on that.
You're going to respectfully pass on Kareem Hunt?
Yes.
He's better than both of your running backs put together, and then sprinkle some sugar on top, and he still wouldn't be as good as.
You're such a Cowboy hater.
Put the poll up. Put the poll up right now. Who's better, Kareem Hunt or Ezekiel half-shirt Elliott? Come on, put the poll up. Where's the poll at?
Put it up. That's how confident I am.
Hold on, real quick, guys.
So I put a.
Joey's lost his mind, Daniel.
Yeah, I know he is. He's really lost his mind. So I put a poll question up, right? Because obviously he's a former Chief. The Chief fans, do you want Kareem Hunt back? And for a while, it was getting really hit 50-50. It got about 2 days to go. 56% say no. 56% say no. 44% say yes. For the Kansas City Chiefs to get Kareem Hunt back. Do you want Kansas City to get Kareem Hunt back? Do I want Kansas City to get Kareem Hunt back?
You dag Skippy.
Yes.
From a football standpoint, yes.
From a football standpoint, yes. right? Do I hope he learned his lesson? Yes. We talked about another guy that had video evidence and got suspended for a year,
Hey, you might be
right?
able to line him up as a kicker too, based on that video.
No. The kicker is going to
Wow.
be somebody else, right? Anthony Price says hunt to the Giants or the Bills.
I don't see the Giants because of the money. The Bills is like the AFC. They just signed. Let me just throw money at this person and see if we get better. But they don't run the ball no way, so they're not going to use Kareem Hunt. But man, wouldn't Kareem Hunt look good in that silver star?
No, Joey.
No.
It's like Joey's trying to make a awful like fantasy trade offer to me. No, Joey.
Really? Oh, you want to talk about
Joey.
horrible finishes? Aren't you the same guy who wanted Debo?
Trade offer all you want. I'm going to deny it every time.
Aren't you the same guy who wanted Debo? Out of all the receivers who got paid,
Debo.
he's at the bottom. Debo, he had one good year at wide receiver, and he didn't even play that well.
That was quite a year.
He's not the best receiver on his team. Quote me right now. Guaranteed. He's not the best receiver in San Francisco. What is it?
Use your chain.
Is it a J? A J or J? It's not Jai. That's the running back. A J? I believe I think he went either to Clemson or Boise State. One of them two. That dude is the best receiver who came up last year. I'm telling you right now, dude's got better catch radius. Daniel said he's got the feet, and the dude sprints better. Yeah, Samuels is bigger, bulkier, and can play running back. They literally put clauses in his contract to get paid if they use him that way.
You just don't like Debo. That's just.
He was hurt the first two. What is there to like about Debo? He had one good year. He's Cam Newton. There's other people in that Cam Newton list right now. He's one of them. You got to have more than one great year in order to be great.
Hey, some guys get paid without having a good year. They just based on potential.
Oh, okay. So what's the potential? What was the potential? What was the potential of Zeke after he got paid? He's gotten worse every single year.
Well, that's the problem. A lot of these guys get paid and they don't have the motivation anymore.
Oh, okay. So why in the heck would y'all trade for Debo?
They lack motivation. Once you get the money, some guys need to be motivated. But anyways, Zeke is on his last year of his contract, and Tony Pollard is on his heels, getting ready to take his job soon. So we're going to be all right at the running back.
What are you
Kareem Hunt to Dallas?
What are you looking for in the Dallas Cowboys scene in this preseason? Like, what do you think? What are you looking at when it comes to your team?
Well, the main thing I want to see is I want to see CeeDee Lamb step into that number one receiver slot. I mean, with Amari Cooper gone, it's time for CD to step up and be the man. So that is the main thing I want to see. I want to see CeeDee Lamb wear that 88 proudly. So many great Cowboy receivers have worn that 88. So I hope that he does it justice.
Yeah. How do you think Dak was going to respond to this season?
You know what? The way the season ended last year, obviously it was not ideal. A little clock management issue. I have a feeling that Dak is going to prove people wrong. I think he's going to have a hell of a season. He wants to, get that taste out of his mouth from last season. I think he's going to have a Pro Bowl type of season, and he might just take us to the promised land. Okay,
and if he doesn't, is it for Dak?
No, not necessarily. I'm not going to give up on Dak. I mean, what's the alternative? I think we're going to have to write it out, man. We're just going to have to write it out and hope that he gets better every season, and we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious how much all right, two wallets. What are we looking forward to seeing about your preseason with the Tennessee Titans and your Arizona Cardinals?
Okay. With Arizona, right now I'm just looking for continuity between coach, quarterback, and the rest of the team. Because right now, nobody in that organization, not on the team, in that organization, kind of has. Even the coach came out and was like, you know what, man? If you think you can run this, go ahead and you call the plays. There's a disconnect between coach and quarterback. Either Kyler's gotten so cocky that they can't work together, but then again, we've seen it work before. We all know that ego that Tom Brady has with Bill Belichick, but Bill Belichick don't care. He'll call you out. I don't think he's actually called him out yet. I think he's not comfortable enough yet to do it in front of the team. Tennessee, I'm looking at a couple of guys. And honestly, I did an episode right before we get on, and I just spoke about this. I'm tagging players on every team every single week, and I'm going to talk about it. Good, bad, and indifferent, but mostly good. It's going to be the unfortunates with all the teams that Daniel let you know what I do, and it's going to be the very fortunate with players of the week, and I would love both of you guys to join me on some of those segments if we got time. But right now, you told me about this guy because you know I don't watch a Pac-12 like that. Phillips is killing in practice, and he's already slated as a starting slot. He is killing.
Out of UCLA, told you.
Man, like usually it's me telling you about players. You know, daggone.
And how about your Titans?
That's what I'm talking about, the Titans.
Titans? Okay, Phillips.
Ooh. Oh, and last player. We're going to have the best backfield. Nobody wants to play Tennessee this year.
So is this the year that Henry's body breaks down?
Nope. You saw the video I posted. He's like a defensive end who runs like a large bunny. He's gifted.
Yeah.
And then they talked about a stiff arm.
Jackson.
Yeah, but Bo Jackson wasn't that big. And then they said his stiff arm. They said you can't wrap him because his arms are longer than you. And when that stiff arm goes out, you're just SOL.
He looks like an armadillo out there, man.
Man,
like armadillo.
He looks like a Jeep racing against motorcycles. Like,
oh man, too many carries, man. His body's bound to break down. I hate to break it.
Not yet. Remember, just like Eddie George had those first 2 years, and then he had a long 9 years. And Eddie George did have a couple of injuries, but Eddie George has his shoulders and the knees. He had one fluke injury to his foot, and he hasn't had any aches or pains reported since then. He doesn't get hurt because he uses his body differently than Eddie did. Eddie kept running even when he got tackled. Real quick, and then I'll leave it alone. Huh?
You love the big backs.
Well, the Houston Oilers and the Tennessee Titans, that's what we do. Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
LaDainian White after Eddie George.
Like tree trunks, man.
And then we had, King Henry now. Everybody forgets about Lindale White with Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson was just special. You know what I mean? So, but this is the greatest story that nobody knows. And I'm glad that Ray Lewis finally did something about it last year. And I saw the video and I was like, oh, I'm going to post it. I think I posted like 4 or 5 months ago. He said the greatest rivalry between two players was me and Eddie George. Ray Lewis and Eddie George. There's one specific play in the playoffs. Ray Lewis used to give it to him.
Went head up.
Yeah, went head up. There aren't many players on defense and offense that you look. We all say all the time, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady, quarterback." Nobody ever talks about this specific defensive player versus this specific offensive player, or except for Dion and Jerry, but that was different. I'll never forget. I was young and I watched the whole game. I saw Ray Lewis hit Eddie George so hard The ball pops up in the air. He catches it and runs back for a touchdown. Eddie George runs to Jeff Fisher and says, "Get the F out of my way." The trainer was right behind him. And then he says, "You pop my shoulder back into place and have them get the ball back." Well, he missed the first play, came back out on the center play. He said, he went to the offensive coordinator and says, "Give me Ray Lewis." He runs right straight. Look. And Steve McNair switched it at the play instead of up the gut because he knew. He gave it on. Here comes Ray. I have never seen Ray Lewis get flipped by anybody. All you saw was a stiff arm for Eddie George, like he did it on purpose, and rammed his head and shoulders into the ground, and it got physical after that.
Two strong dudes, man.
There's never been a rivalry like that, and every time they played, they went after each other.
Country
on
strong.
Purpose. Man, it was wonderful. But the Tennessee Titans organization is like that. We're built like that. We draft like that, and we have for years. Honestly, I wish I had a few more years of Lindell White, because he, like you said, he had legs like tree trunks, but he couldn't keep his stomach down.
Hey, we can all relate.
Yes, we can all relate.
All relate,
man. But that's just who we are as an organization. That's just how it. I'll never forget after last year, after the Seattle game, when he ran for, I think, 96 yards in the second half and overtime to beat Seattle, when Seattle was healthy. Man, Vrabel got on that set and said, "This is who we are, this is our identity, and this is how we're going to do it." So to answer your question in very long form, Daniel, other than the couple players that I've tagged, that uniformity that Mike Vrabel is built in our franchise over the years he's been there, that's what I want to see transform on the field. And everybody says that Tannehill looks great. And when I tell you, Hooper looks great, Phillips looks great, everybody is shocked at that athleticism of Burks. It's over.
You
Let's
guys
go.
Be 1-16.
1-16. How much you want to put on that?
I want to hear Daniel. I want to hear Daniel talk about his Chiefs.
Yes, because man, I've been hearing great things
how
about
they are gonna replace Tyreek Hill, because Daniel loves talking about war, the win above replacement.
Yep, in football.
Daniel, tell me how they're gonna replace Tyreek Hill's production.
Well,
I know.
First off, look, they got two good receivers, the bigger receivers, and they don't need the Juju and Marquise, because now you cannot do the whole, hey, guess what, cover on top, because these guys aren't gonna blow right by you. They're gonna get the hard 20, 30 yard ends, to where you cannot do a blanket coverage where you get like they did all last year, where they said, we're just going to keep everybody as far as deep as possible because Tyreek can't outrun us if we're 30 yards down the field, right? So that's what. So and then they'll do it. Sky Moore has been coming out really well. They're actually looking at him as a Deebo Samuel type. They're giving him to the backfield. They might do that. So that's where I think they could capitalize. What I really like the fact is that Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis are really, really showing everything in as far as that defense goes. They're strengthening that defense. It looks like Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed might be our emergency kicker. Did you see that kick from Jordan Reed online? If you go online, go on the Chiefs thing. That kick, go on his Twitter.
You're in trouble when you're relying on your kicker to have a hell of a season.
No, Jordan Reed is a safety.
Oh, okay.
Jordan Reed is a safety. Okay. He's going to be the emergency backup kicker.
Oh, wow.
As he was messing with. It wasn't – he's a safety. He's supposed to be – he's going to replace Tyrann Mathieu, right? So he's going to replace them. The Chiefs did release a DeAndre Baker. They waived him, the corner, and it looks like Orlando Brown signed his franchise tag, came into better shape. The only thing about him is he had a couple bad false start penalties in practice the other day, and Eric Bieniemy is calling it a learning curve to get them out. Maybe they'll get them out of the system. And then Gian Christian has been taking some snaps at right tackle, so I think they're going to try to merge him with maybe Andrew Riley, so maybe get an extra some tackles. As far as the question goes, question for Big Chief: why your team keep signing wide receivers? Are they trying to buy everybody? No.
Hey, big shoes to fill.
Well, look,
who's going to be your deep threat? Who's going to be your deep threat?
Sky Moore is going to be my big deep threat. Sky Moore will be the deep threat.
You better hope so.
I think so. I think he's fast as heck. And I think because when you have Patrick Mahomes, look, Patrick Mahomes, the year the Chiefs were 31 ranked defense, threw 50 touchdown passes, set the league on fire, and was an offsides away from going to the Super Bowl. Okay? From D Ford. So the fact that Patrick Mahomes can't do it now, I've heard they can't do it without Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. You still got Travis Kelce. You got a bigger receiver core, right? You got a little bit of bigger receiver core. You got a more of a better offensive line that's finally had a full season under their belt, right? And now you just you're just plug and play, plug in a little bit, and I personally, like I said, if they somehow find a way to get Kareem Hunt, but I don't think they will, right? Would be lovely to get a good back because I like power backs. I'm like Joey. I want a power back. I want a bigger back. I'm not really with Edwards-Helaire. I really don't like how he runs the ball.
He's been disappointing, man.
Right? He's supposed to be this big. I can't believe they got him and they stole him in the last round. But I'm like, did they really? Or did the owners really know something that the Chiefs really didn't know?
So Kareem Hunt is better than everybody in Dallas. I'll tell you that much.
Joey.
Anyway. And I do got one question for you because I love how you just glossed over it. I'm going to reference you in a draft. Why would we draft that small corner? Who is that? Now tell me why.
Trent McDuffie?
Yeah, tell me. I want you to tell me why your slot and everything you've been hearing, because I know you've been hearing the same, because I follow Chiefs on Snapchat and ESPN. Tell me why your slot corner just got released.
Because Trent McDuffie's been tearing it up. I said the Chiefs are loving some Trent McDuffie and Joel Karlaftis. Okay, they're loving those guys. So okay, they're performing in practice. They're performing in training camp. So that's what they're doing. So that's why you release a DeAndre Baker, because you're gonna have this guy. Did I think he was that? Well, hey, I told you about Phillips, so we're 1-1. Okay, because
okay, but technically I'll take the lead because I also told you about Mahomes.
Yeah, but you're the only one that nobody thought about Mahomes.
Man, look, a lot of people follow Oklahoma and Texas in the Big 12. Not anymore because now they're in the SEC. I'm just saying they were then.
But I'm just saying nobody knew about Mahomes the way he was going to be. Nobody. What do you always want? What do people always want? They want that guy that's in the national championship game, especially you won a national championship game.
It's funny you say that. You know what changed my mind? Seriously? The year Matt Ryan got drafted. And I said, what the hell? I said, why would you draft a quarterback who has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns from Boston College? That's what changed my mind, because I said, there's no way he'll work. And then I think it was in the couple of years of that, I said, there's no way a wide receiver is going to be a good quarterback. Ryan Tannehill played pretty good with when he got past his first 2 years in Miami, and then he played way better in Tennessee than he did in Miami. So those two quarterbacks made me look differently at what I looked for in college, and then see what these pros look for.
All right. So we're gonna get to the end of the show. We're wrapping it up right now. last minute thoughts. What you guys been thinking?
Last minute thoughts, man. I just have loved watching the Dodgers sweep the Giants, the hated Giants, and we're about to sweep the Padres, who added Juan Soto, who was supposed to be the big difference maker, and they are quickly realizing that you need a lot more to beat the Dodgers. You got to be a well-rounded team. So yeah, man, I really love the way the Dodgers are dominating everyone right now, and I hope they win for Vin, man. I hope they make it to the World Series and win it for Vin.
2 odds.
Mine is a little bit controversial. What I want to start seeing is I want to start to see other countries start to open their mind and start working with better education as far as depression. So that way some of these athletes who venture into other countries can still get the same medications that they get wherever they're from. And we can build globally on a uniform medication sort of diversity. So that way, let's open up communications. Let's get doctors to talk to other doctors from other countries. Let's open up the communications. Let's start doing it.
Vladimir Putin don't care, man.
I said all countries.
Okay.
I said all countries.
All right, we got a couple of comments real quick before I give my final thoughts. Anthony says the Dallas taking an L that first game. Tampa Bay got 4 big wide receivers who's checking them. And the other one is Houston will be better, have a better record than the Yankees. Baltimore will be a sleeper team in the playoffs if they make it in.
Shots fired.
Baltimore, hot takes. If Baltimore makes it in, that's going to be crazy. They are right there too. They are 56 and 52. Who thought that they would? That extra wild card. That's my final take. This extra wild card team has made a difference. I know I said last week there was only one bye. There's actually 2. The top 2 teams in each league get the bye. Right now, if the season would have ended today, the Yankees and the cheaters would get the byes, and Minnesota would probably be playing Seattle and Toronto and Tampa Bay. In the National League, the Dodgers and the Mets would get the byes. St. Louis would probably play Atlanta, or would actually play San Diego, and Atlanta and Philly would play. Hey, this past was the trade deadline. Hey, the Dodgers made it. They got Gallo, who he's actually played better than what I thought he was going to play. It gives us that extra. It's giving us that extra left fielder, so we could put a Gavin Lux at second to give Max Muncy just a day off. Give him just do DH. Get that hit. Just be a DH. Even though Gavin Lux made a crucial error in last night's game, but they bounced back and they are up 2-0 in the bottom of the 6th against Hugh Garbage. They have a chance to sweep the Padres. They're up 14.5 games on the Padres right now. I'm worried about this lead because don't get too comfortable, right? But at the same time, you don't want to start losing and the Padres start winning. Next thing you know, you're going to be battling in September instead of just playing out the season. I don't know if they're not going to clinch. They haven't clinched it. They have the best record though right now with 74 wins. They are, if the season ended, they would have World Series home field advantage. So I'm looking forward to the end of this baseball season. Win for Vin is exactly what it is. We shall see what happens. I love the fact that we swept the Giants in San Francisco. I don't think we've lost to the Giants in a while.
And by the way, big props to the Giants fans for showing respect to Vin Scully. That was very classy.
Yes, it was very, very classy. I think the whole entire baseball family MLB in general has A real class act everywhere to
San
go.
Diego, stay classy, San Diego.
Stay classy, exactly. Stay classy, San Diego.
They gave up a lot for Soto, man. They gave up a lot.
They did.
They gave up SeaWorld. They gave up, they gave up a lot.
Yeah.
Get
So
Soto.
I got this thing the other day from a text message from my mom, and let me read it. It says, "Thank you to Insider. The Padres full offer. The Padres get Juan Soto and Josh Bell. The Nationals get the whole entire Padres farm system, SeaWorld, San Diego Zoo, Tony Gwynn statue, La Jolla Beach, the Gaslamp Quarter, Blink 182, Torrey Pines, Tony Hawk,
Blink 182,
LaDainian Tomlinson, Tijuana, and the Channel 4
threw
news
LT
team.
in there.
Yes.
They threw LT in there. Oh man.
And the Channel 4 news team. So that's what the Washington.
Hey Joey, do you know what San Diego stands for in Spanish?
Oh crap! No.
We've
had enough riddles today.
Have you? I know Danny knows. What is it, Danny?
It's a family show.
Oh boy.
Well, according to Will Ferrell,
it's Saint Diego. No, it's
watch
not Saint Diego.
It has something to do with a whale.
Yes,
say that.
This right there. If you have to, YouTube Anchorman or watch Anchorman.
Man, y'all gonna make me do this right here, man. For real. Y'all gonna make me.
So go ahead and watch that. We'll get back to you guys next week. But by the way, if you guys haven't looked, go on YouTube right now. Tyron Johnson, friend or foe, Joey 2 Watts comes out with that. He also has a couple other things. He broke down the
preseason game.
Well, the only thing I forgot was Josh Jacobs really on the trade block. Why?
He still is. Hold on.
He ain't playing. He ain't getting traded.
Hold on.
No. After what I saw in the season, he's not getting traded. But we're gonna leave it like that.
You know what? Let's don't say any more. We're gonna jump. We're gonna create another one, and we're gonna keep going.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
We'll break down that game together. I already broke it down. I would love to hear your thoughts, both of you guys, and then we'll get into the Jacob conversation.
Tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do that. Tomorrow.
Turn in 5 minutes.
Tune in tomorrow. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great night. We'll talk to you later.